Hi everyone, my name's Clara Eve and welcome to another episode of Law for the Lay. Now, in my intro episode for this channel, I explained how I'm going to try and interview people from a range of areas that's going to help us understand the law and how it applies to things. So today I'll be interviewing someone in the political space because I think it's really important for us to talk to politicians and people in that area in a real way, like they're real people, because the reality is they are real people, but they just don't come across that way in many platforms that we view through mainstream television. And a lot of politicians, to me, kind of come across as a Sesame Street character on Groundhog Day, where they're just like repeating the same thing over and over again, and their mouth looks like this. So politics for me growing up was just such an area I was disinterested in. I still have a lot to learn in this area, and I don't know about you guys, but there was only like snippets of things that I actually remembered, like the fact that we somehow managed to lose a prime minister in the ocean at one point in history. It took me a good 28 years to even understand what a double dissolution is. Don't worry, if you don't know what a double dissolution is, you can look it up. So I'm going to try and be the person that breaks down those conversations on camera and make it a little bit more real and just see what happens. Like, it may be something that doesn't work. Who knows? Let's have fun with it. So, introducing my very first political guest on Law for the Lay is going to be Troy Delmege. Now, you may remember Troy from the 2018 Married at First Sight television series. Now, for those that don't know, Married at First Sight is like a reality TV program where people have like these pseudo marriages through a commitment ceremony, and then they try and see if they last in a marriage. And Troy was known for having big personality, big reactions, and a big teeth brushing routine with a sneaky little wife swap at the end of the series. Now, love life aside, Troy is now taking on bigger and brighter challenges on a political scale and is running for the North Sydney seat in the next election, contesting it as an independent candidate. Now, an independent candidate is someone who is separate to a political party. So the ones that you'd be most familiar with from mainstream television are like Labor, Liberal, Nationals, Greens, Sex Party. Oh no, I think there's something else now. I think they're like the Reason Party. Anyway, so instead, Troy is a lone wolf candidate trying to win over the hearts of Australians with his grassroots campaign, new ideas, and strong passion to change the way that we do politics here in Australia. So stick around if you want to meet the real Troy Delmege. Troy Delmege, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here, Clara.
Loving it. We're all very excited to interview you today. I'm pretty sure all my family are watching right now. But essentially, we want to know why you're getting into politics. So,
great question.
Is it something that you always wanted to do from being a little kid, or did you just look at Parliament and think it needs a little Marie Kondoing because it was no longer sparking joy for the general public?
True, isn't it? Yeah. Look, it's something I've always wanted to get into, and I was sort of waiting for the right time in life. I did watch Parliament as a kid, bit of a secret confession there. It was quite different back in those days. I feel like it's gone downhill, but it used to be a bit more... it used to be a bit more substantial. But anyway, so look, I'm passionate about my community. There are a lot of things around North Sydney that I think need to be changed. I'd love to be the agent to actually get it done. I see the parties we've got at the moment, like, look, the North Shore of Sydney, it's Liberal Party heartland. They pre-select the same candidates every single election. I don't think they really get there on merit. I think both parties have that issue. And so I think we need someone who's outside the mold, who can get in there and put the people first and not the parties first. And when you are pre-selected by a party, obviously you do take your orders from the party. You have to toe the party line. I want to be someone who shakes things up and really advocates for the community. Also, I think the type of people we have in the Parliament could do with a bit of a refresh. I think, we're tired of the same old people. I think we could definitely have like some new people in there who have got outside experiences, who haven't just been tied up in the parties their whole lives, but people who are really passionate about the community, who want to inspire the community, bring everyone together and put people first all the time. And that's the person I want to be.
That's fantastic. Okay, Troy, so aside from being on reality TV and having a brief stint on the Ellen DeGeneres show recently, what do you think sets you apart from other politicians?
Yeah, well, when I look at the Parliament of Australia, inside Parliament, you see so many people who are what you might call party hacks. People who have been in the parties for a long time. All they've done is work their numbers, had enough support in the party to get in there, not really getting there on merit. So, and a lot of them have been like in the public sector one way or another their whole lives. So I think it's great. I bring a lot of private sector experience. I've been in a number of roles in different companies. I've been overseas, I study, I have an MBA. I've got a lot of life experiences which I think are priceless, aside from reality TV. I think it's about, your whole life experience, what you bring to the table. I've had such an interesting life, wouldn't change it for the world, so lucky. But, and that's shaped me into who I am today. And I think I can actually speak and advocate for the community better than the current person in there. And just be a whole fresh change. And I think Parliament needs new people who have got different perspectives, especially maybe people who've got more energy, who are passionate, really passionate, and who want to do something. I want to inspire the community, inspire everyone in my community, bring everyone together, passionate about that, and I just don't see that at the moment. So hopefully bring that to the table.
Fantastic. Well, you actually mentioned in a conversation off camera that you did a bit of volunteering in politics. So at least you know that, like, contextually, he has actually been around in the political space before reality television.
Yeah.
So next question, the one that I totally grabbed onto on your campaign page was your comments about the Senate, and essentially you said that you would like to abolish the Senate. So for someone who's not heavily political like myself, I understand it as just being an area of review that's a little bit higher up the scale.
Yeah.
Would you mind explaining to our viewers what you believe the role of the Senate is and why you think it should be abolished?
Yeah, sure. So I think when the Constitution was set up more than 100 years ago, the Senate was formed. It's been reformed a couple of times since then, just in terms of numbers. But essentially, it's a house of review. It's so that the states have equal power as each other, so that the big states can't gang up on the smaller states, and basically to equalize that. So my point of view is, I believe, and I think most people probably do believe, in one vote, one value. So at the moment we've got a system where people in Tasmania have 10 times the voting power of people in New South Wales. I think that's inherently unfair, and in today's era of equality, I think the left and right side of politics could agree, for different reasons, that it's time to get rid of the Senate, for maybe slightly different reasons, but in terms of democracy, real democracy, one vote, one value, and, the less bureaucracy, probably the better. When I look at the Senate, some of the behaviours inside that chamber don't really, I think, bring out the best in people, showcase the best of Australia. I think if we got rid of it, I think it would be a step forward for a number of those reasons.
That's really interesting. I haven't actually looked into it that much, but I'm certainly going to now. It's a lot of food for thought for everyone to consider, especially in the lead up to the election. So Trent Zimmerman is the current member for North Sydney that you'll be running against. In the media recently, he, as a comment towards you in reaction to you stepping up and saying that you want to run in the election, he pretty much insinuated that you were only doing it for extended fame.
So,
what's your response to that? You've got such a good background in business and finance
Thank
and
you.
things like that.
Look, it's a little disappointing from someone who doesn't know me or anything about me. It does seem like a bit of a knee-jerk reaction from the classical politician out there, who's maybe a little bit insecure about any change whatsoever. I'm sure he's very comfortable. It's a safe seat. He probably doesn't think he has to do too much each election to get re-elected. A little bit of a challenge, might seem a bit daunting. But look, I just class that the same old politics. I think it just shows, we want original people in there, people who are passionate, who aren't scared, who want to work for the people's vote. I think more people in it, the better. But in terms of my background, I was on reality TV for 2 months of filming. I'm quite a different person to what might have actually got on the TV screens.
Reality.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to bring that to people over the next couple of months. But yeah, I don't think 2 months of your life define you as a person. And like I said, a lot of life experiences bring to the table. So, I'm excited to get out there and bring it on.
That's absolutely true. So, I guess the last question I have for you today is from a very practical perspective. And essentially, courting Australians is going to be very different to the dating scene. There's no candlelit dinners here. So, I would like to know from a very practical perspective, how you're approaching this political game. So, for example, if it was me, I would be researching policy late at night. I'd be meal prepping, exercising.
Should be awesome, right? Don't run in my seat, please.
And also heavily breathing into a brown paper bag. But so, what's your plan of action?
Look, my plan of action, don't want to give away too much strategy, you know, the opposition is listening, but look, I'm passionate about the community. I've got my issues that I'll be putting forward, that I'll be standing on. I think as an independent, you don't really have like hundreds of pages of a manifesto. I want to stick to stuff that's relevant for people in my area that will make a difference. And so I'm going to get out there, hopefully can sort of maybe tweak with that public image I've got at the moment from Married at First Sight, but just be myself out there all the time, show people the passion that I want to inspire everyone out there, and focus on these issues. It's going to be a matter of being out there, connecting with people. I'll be on the streets, door knocking, at the train stations, places of business, places of work. So yeah, just getting out there as much as possible. I'll try and take care of myself. I'll be resting up when I get the amount of right of rest, be in a good mood when I'm out there. So probably not staying up too late to study those issue and policy papers. But I know what I care about, and I think I'll probably strike a chord with a lot of people out there in North Sydney on the same wavelength.
That sounds fantastic. Well, Troy, we really can't wait to watch your journey. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
We wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Clara. See you around soon.
See you guys. Thanks for joining us.